This is Jack Rice in the shadow of the nation's capital. This is Jack Rice on the floor of the Republican National Convention in St. Paul, Minnesota. This is Jack Rice on the floor of the Security Council. This is Jack Rice in New Hampshire. This is Jack Rice on the floor of the Democratic National Convention in Denver. This is Jack Rice in Tijuana, Mexico. This is Jack Rice in Juba, South Sudan. Welcome my next guest to the program, the U.S. Senator from the great state of Illinois, Barack Obama. Senator, thank you for joining me.
Jack, thanks so much for having me.
Regularly she says interesting things, and yet everybody continues to want to talk to her, although some say that they don't, strangely enough. And you'll recognize the name, of course, Ann Coulter. Ann, thank you very much for joining me.
Anytime.
Welcome to the program. Very thrilled to have with me the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Harry Reid. Senator, thank you for joining the program.
Jack, it's my pleasure.
Governor Mike Huckabee, he's running for President of the United States. Governor, thank you for joining me, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you, Jack.
Very happy to have with me in studio U.S. Senate candidate Al Franken.
Mr. President, would you please move forward with this and say something about a truth commission? Joining me now is former CIA officer Jack Rice. Jack, great to have you with us tonight. I have to ask you, is the CIA the same organization under every president, no matter who the president is? Do they all act the same way, do the same things, and take the same marching orders? Or is there ever any difference between the agencies under presidents?
Come on, Ed, we've seen pushes back and forth multiple times. There was a reason when Dick Cheney was pushing the agency to do certain things, they responded back. They know where the money is coming from. The last thing they want to be is an enemy of the White House.
He has recently died, supposedly a suicide. It's turned out a former CIA special agent and a former prosecutor, Jack Rice. Good evening, Jack.
Great to be with you, Keith.
Before we look at the pieces separately, do we need to step back at this? I mean, at what point do you think it becomes clear that a pattern is developing, is discernible, one in which a priority of the Bush administration, which was justifying the Iraq War, dovetails, fits into a key tactic of the Bush administration, namely the use of torture?
Without question, Keith, when we look at what we have already seen, and this seems to just support that concept, is that this was never about accurate information. This was about justification.
So, Jack, it's clear there was some dissent. Do you believe this administration was essentially hell-bent on using these techniques?
Well, it's a great question. It appears that they may have been. I mean, that's why the investigation needs to take place. There's a bottom line here. If torture was committed, and I think it was, you take a look at the Department of Justice reports, you look at multiple reports, the one you just cited, which just came out yesterday. Realistically, torture was committed on behalf of Americans. And if that's true, we should investigate it. And we should look at the people who were involved, the people who were the architects of this especially. Those are the ones that drove these. It's important we understand this. If the United States isn't the litmus test, if we're not the standard, then how do we stand up in the rest of the world and say, you can't do this, if we can't stop it ourselves?